Hey there, it's Lizzie Mash from themovingmama.com, and today we're talking about 3-year-old tantrums. So at 3 years old, it might seem like the toddler years should be behind you, but your 3-year-old is still having tantrums. This is really normal. This is definitely what to expect out of a 3-year-old. It's just really different now because when your child was 2 or even maybe 18 months, they didn't have all of the language to communicate what they were feeling. But now they seem to have more language. You can reason with them and talk to them, and yet they're still having tantrums. This is still completely normal as your toddler's brain is still developing. They have the logical side of the brain and the emotional side of the brain. And sometimes the emotional side of the brain is so overpowering that they just can't listen to reason. And so they end up having tantrums. So as the parent, what are you going to do to help prevent these tantrums, to ease these tantrums as they're happening, and to just give them more skills to express their emotions? But first, I know you're wondering, when are these tantrums just going to completely stop? And most parents say that during age 3, their toddler still does have a lot of tantrums. But around age 4 is when they start to peter off. But still, as a child, they might have meltdowns now and then, but definitely at age 4 is when you really start to see the decline in tantrums, and your child has other ways to express those big emotions to you. And as the parent, we want to teach them how to express those big emotions in appropriate ways. We don't want to suppress those emotions. We just want to give them better skills to express those emotions. So, what is the absolute quickest way to stop a toddler tantrum in its tracks? Well, it's pretty simple, and that is just to offer your toddler the comfort and the support that they need. And sometimes that's difficult for us as the parent because we are so bothered by the tantrum, which is why it's important for us to remember that a tantrum is just a normal part of a 3-year-old's life, and that our toddler isn't having a tantrum to be defiant or naughty or to get what they want. A lot of times it's just an absolute overflow of emotions that they really can't control. And in order to soothe someone emotionally, we also have to comfort them emotionally. So trying to explain to them why they shouldn't be upset, trying to address the logical side of their brain, isn't really going to soothe the tantrum. But getting down to their level, hugging them, giving them a gentle touch, using a gentle voice as we speak to them, that is going to help to soothe the tantrum. And this means that even if our toddler is being aggressive in their tantrum, if they're hitting us or hitting a sibling, we still want to have a calming and gentle presence. Because if we bring our emotions into the situation in a really negative way and we project our frustration, then that's only going to heighten their emotions as well, and they could become even more aggressive. So we want to come in a gentle and calm way as we approach their tantrum. Now, in terms of actually preventing tantrums, so we can deal with fewer tantrums in a day, it's all about giving your child more skills to cope with their emotions and also to communicate their needs. So if your child has a speech delay, or maybe you're like me and you have a bilingual child, so they're still piecing together a lot of language in their mind, then you might need to give them more skills to communicate what they want. So something that's worked really well for me is that sometimes my daughter can want something really badly, but not have the words to explain to me what she wants. And so I always tell her, show me. Show me what you want, because she can be trying to tell me something and it just doesn't make any sense. And then she gets really frustrated with me that I don't understand her, and then she has a tantrum. So I say, show me, and then she is able to take me to what it is she wants, to point at it, and to communicate it in that way. Now, if you have a child whose language is not delayed, then that might not be necessary. It might work if you have a 2-year-old. But if you want to continue to prevent tantrums, allowing your child to communicate what they want and what they need is important. And then also to find ways to respond to what they want when the answer is no, that is not going to make them feel so upset and frustrated. So if you have to say no to a request, find ways to respect them in that no. Because absolutely, sometimes as the parent, we just have to say no, and that is totally appropriate and all right. But how can we do that in a way that respects the fact that they really wanted that and they're going to be hurt when we say no? So how can we respectfully say no? Well, one of the ways is to consider, how can we say yes in that no? So maybe they wanted to climb on the back of the couch, but we see that's dangerous. Okay, how can we say yes? What can they climb on? So it's no, you cannot climb here, but yes, you can come and climb over here. So it's redirecting them actually for what they want and giving them something that they can do, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for something that they can do. So how can we please that desire, but in a different way that's appropriate for us and our 3-year-old? And another part of preventing tantrums is just to understand what our child's needs are in terms of sleep and eating and stimulation. So sometimes your child could just be so tired or hungry or overstimulated or understimulated or lonely that the tantrum comes up because of that. So how can we address those needs and make sure that those needs are being met so that tantrums don't come up because of that? So if you are taking your 3-year-old with you grocery shopping and it's getting close to lunchtime, they might start to get really hungry and the tantrum can come up because of that need. So you can prevent that tantrum by being more mindful of what time you go for groceries. If you know it might take a long time, then make sure that you've planned it after lunchtime, you know they've had enough rest, and just be aware of your child, their own personality of when they can be more irritated than at other times. Another way to prevent 3-year-old tantrums is to give your 3-year-old more control over their life. So if you're able to allow your 3-year-old to decide what they're going to wear that day, maybe you have to adjust by giving them a sweater or something so they're warm enough. But any kind of control that they can have over their life makes them feel like they have more freedom, which means when we do have to control them for matters of safety or hygiene, it's a little bit more reasonable for them because they know that you're not controlling everything about their life, and they do have some authority and control over their life. Now, of course, with the parent, we're always going to be there, making sure that they're safe, making sure they're eating right, that they're staying clean, all of those things. So yeah, we are in control, but anything that we can give them the choice over or the control over, that helps to prevent tantrums later on, because it won't feel like we're so controlling over every little tiny piece of their life, because over time that can be really frustrating for a 3-year-old. So in conclusion, as the parent, it's just really important that we stay patient and loving with our 3-year-old through their tantrums, knowing that it's developmentally normal and that the best way to soothe them is through comfort that we can give them, whether that just be purely physical comfort with a hug or a cuddle, or even in soothing words. We can validate their feelings, which I talk about more on themovingmama.com, or anything that we think can be comforting to them. But trying to stop them from feeling the way that they feel is not an effective way to soothe their tantrum. Instead, we want them to be able to express what they feel, just not aggressively. And I have tips on my website too about how to stop a toddler from hitting if that's a problem that you're facing. But how can we allow them to express their feelings? And as they get older, they will have more mature ways to express those emotions. So those emotions are allowed to have a space and they're allowed to exist. It's just our job to teach our child appropriate ways to express those emotions and to give them the comfort and support they need to make it through that moment. I hope this has been helpful, and make sure to check out all the links below to more helpful resources for you and your toddler. Oops, and I almost forgot to mention, I have a free download that you can grab in one of the links below for toddler scripts. This is what you're going to say to your toddler during their tantrum, and it's just kind of a guide to help you know what to say so that you're validating their feelings and comforting them with your words on an emotional level, instead of trying to reason with them as to why they shouldn't be having their tantrum. So make sure to check out the link below so that you can grab that and download that as well.